The New York Rangers have made multiple surprising moves this morning, and one move in particular has major implications on this team's roster moving forward. We're going to break that down, as well as despite everything you've seen online and everything you've heard, and this Rangers team doing something that no team has ever done. This team is different. We're going to break down exactly why in this episode of Rangers Digest. And let's get right into it. This morning, Scott Morrow has been recalled from the Hartford Wolfpack. That is officially 1 minute ago at the time that I am recording this. He has officially been recalled to the New York Rangers. Now, everybody was already getting ready to celebrate online. I saw, a bunch of tweets already, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. There is a reason why they're able to call up Scott Morrow in this case, because a couple days ago, like we covered on the channel, they weren't able to call Scott Morrow up because of salary cap implications, which means something's happening to somebody right now. And we got our answer. It's Vincent Trocheck. He's being placed on LTIR. So he has to miss 10 games, at least 10 games, or 24 days, whatever basically comes first in that order. He needs to miss a minimum of 10 games or 24 days. So hopefully everything's okay with Vincent Trocheck in that case. And obviously that comes from Vince Mercogliano. So hopefully it's nothing more serious than that. But man, missing Vincent Trocheck for an extended period of time like this is pretty significant for this team. Although they have moved Mika back to center and he has looked good, despite, me saying that wasn't going to happen this summer. So I look kind of foolish right now because this team does look pretty good despite not being able to score at home. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. Stay tuned till the end of the video for a shocking quote. We're going to dive into that. But again, Scott Morrow has been recalled. Vincent Trocheck on LTIR. That is official this morning. And if you take a look at the lineup, and one thing that we've also heard this morning is that Will Borgen is injured. He will not practice today. And it looks like he might not actually play against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's still up in the air, but they called up Scott Morrow so they could have a seventh defenseman, and that is from Molly Walker. So they called up, again, on Vincent Trocheck, putting him on LTIR. Will Borgen won't practice because of a lower body injury, and Scott Morrow is just there in case they need him. He's going to be the seventh defenseman. So that's pretty interesting to me. I wonder if in that case, because Scott Morrow is a right shot defenseman, I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. I would have Scott Morrow in the lineup, but I do wonder if Matthew Robertson stays in the lineup in that case against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there if Braden Schneider moves up. Because the way this is worded, it sounds like Scott Morrow has just been recalled just in case. So I think that's very interesting. They have the cap space to do that now because Vincent Trocheck is on LTIR. So some interesting moves made this morning. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this. Should Scott Morrow get into the lineup? I believe so. I think this team needs a little bit more speed that he can bring in that case. And not only that, he can play the second power play unit, which we now know, Braden Schneider, I love the guy. I think he's a great defenseman. I think he gets a bad rep out there. That is for sure. I think he's way better than people realize, but not to quarterback a power play. I will say that. So pretty interesting stuff so far this morning. And from NYR Louis, I thought this was interesting. And NYR Louis has been diving into the advanced analytics lately. Says that Scott Morrow is coming up to do multiple things. One of them, personally, might be sitting in the press box, right? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen against the Leafs. And, Borgen, he's not ruled out yet, but they have the flexibility to make a move like this just in case. So he says that it adds a puck mover to the blue line to help 5-on-5 offense in both organized sets and transition, and hopefully plays power play 2 over Schneider. That would be great. And that's exactly what Scott Morrow is, right? Like that's what he is. A power play quarterback. He's an offensive defenseman and a big one at that. He's 6'2". So, and he adds speed to a very slow team. We've seen at times this team, is a little bit slow so far this season. And, they do have some young pieces, but, there's still, Mika Zibanejad in the mix and stuff like that. But pretty interesting stuff. So now I want to get into, and we're going to shift gears here. Let me know how you feel about Vincent Trocheck and Scott Morrow and the moves that the Rangers have made this morning down below in the comments. But let's move on to this Rangers team. Is different, guys. They are absolutely different. I do not care what you've heard out there, what you're seeing. It's a fluke, absolute fluke that they have not scored at home yet. They are outplaying everybody. This team looks way different than last year. And for anybody that doesn't think that, are you watching the games? I mean, they look different. There's certain things that they're doing that are different. Like, how can you not like the direction that this team is going right now and not figure that they're going to figure it out and eventually score at home? I mean, the best case scenario or the best game plan right now is to just have them play on the road. Clearly, they can't score at home. And it's funny. It's a funny thing. But just like JT Miller is saying here, let's get into the quote, that it's a fluke, guys. Like, it's a unique situation. Let's not blow this out of proportion. There's a lot of good. We're getting a lot of chances. And they are. They ran the Washington Capitals out of MSG the other night, and somehow they ran away with a 1-0 win. It was absurd. This is a unique start to the season in the sense that there have been games where we feel like we've really thrown a lot at the other team and we're not getting rewarded. So I think it's on us to just make sure that the mindset stays the same in here and we don't go off the grid to find something. So he's also, in alignment. And I've talked about this on the channel before. In order to win and find success and have an identity, you need alignment from your captain, the leadership group as a whole, the coach, to the GM, right? And there's some alignment here on what they're saying. And this is Mike Sullivan. He said, we just have to stay the course. We got to dig in. We can't get discouraged. And we just got to become more determined. And the pucks will go in the net for them. Listen, they've ran into some hot goaltenders. I think this is a fluke what's happening right now. I have to be honest. This team looks different. I like the way Lafreniere's playing. JT Miller's playing good. If you look at the advanced analytics, 5-on-5, Mika Zibanejad has been their best skater. That is insane. I would not have taken, if I was a betting man, I would not have bet on that, right? So there's some encouraging signs here, and they're going to figure it out. They're eventually going to score at home, but this team is playing well. And yes, it is a little discouraging, right? Especially for the fan base, right? You want to pick up some wins, and in a ideal world, they would have 4 wins right now, at least, right? They don't, and that's just the way it goes. We're 5 games into the season, but I think the identity and a lot of what they were talking about in the summer has changed. Now, again, I'm not going to, go into the fact that you shouldn't feel that way if you're a fan, right? It's disappointing. It's also hilarious that they haven't scored on home ice yet, and they're doing, only the Rangers could do this, right? First 3 games of the season on home ice, can't score a goal. But I don't know if there's a reason to panic yet. There are encouraging signs. So let's, ease off the panic button right now. Stuart Skinner was even saying like how ridiculous it was. Like he could not believe that was the case. And he had a great game. Credit where credit's due. And maybe it's a case that the Rangers are making goalies look good to a degree too. But some of the chances they're getting, they hit 3 posts last night, right? Like it's the luck of the draw, and they're not getting it right now. And it will swing. It will swing, and they're going to pick up wins because of the way that they're playing. And maybe they'll win a Stanley Cup. From Statboy Steven, the last time that the Rangers got shut out in 3 consecutive home games, they won the Stanley Cup. So there's something to hold on to in terms of hope here. But even something like this against a good Edmonton Oilers team, a team that's gone to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, look at this. They were the much better team every single line, right? The Rangers were the better team. They're outplaying their opponents. They're sticking to their process, right? I like that. I like everything I've seen so far this season, and I know I was freaking out after the first game of the year. Everybody was, right? Let's be honest. And it's the first game of the year. Hockey's back. We're all excited. But there's encouraging signs here. I'm not hitting the panic button. I like what I see. And not including, like, some of these stats are absurd to look at from NYR Louis. Not including empty netters. The Rangers have allowed only 4 goals in 5 games this year. Great, right? In theory, that's fantastic. And they've scored 10, and somehow they're 2-3. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, everything is going to swing here, and things will be okay. As long as they stick to their process, they continue to play this way. Again, like I mentioned, Lafreniere, I feel like he's playing heavier. JT is doing a good job of leading this team. The one person that is not pulling their weight, the only spot on this team, I mean, you can nitpick certain things, right? I think Noah Laba's looked pretty good. Not like a huge difference maker, impact player, but they've looked good. Fourth lines look pretty good. Sam Carrick had a great game. The one person that isn't pulling their weight, and once he gets going, this team will be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Artemi Panarin needs to get going. And, you know, he had a quote yesterday as well. He said the last 2, in terms of home games, I at least feel better. Yeah, we still lost those games, not scoring anything, so it's never easy. Hockey is life for us. You're always thinking about that. We just got to change our way and start winning games, especially got to start winning games at home. So a very basic quote, but he's got to get going. If you look at all the advanced analytics too, for what he's being paid and the fact that, you know, we've heard he's not going to take a hometown discount, this guy better start scoring, because everyone else is pulling their weight right now, and they're not scoring, but they look good, and this, you know, the analytics look encouraging, right? He has to start scoring. So, you know, without that, they're going to have a hard time winning games as the season goes on. But I think the signs are there. This team, the no BS thing, you know, we were asking where it was after the first game. They put together some solid performances, guys, and I think they're going to be just fine. unless this luck continues all season, which would be absurd, and we've never seen the likes of that ever in the history of the NHL. So that would be crazy, but only the New York Rangers could pull that off. But let me know in the comments how you feel about Scott Morrow, Vincent Trocheck, and this team being different. I do truly believe that this is a different Rangers team that we're watching right now. I believe in Mike Sullivan. He's made some questionable decisions so far, but I'm trusting the process, at least in terms of what we're seeing on ice now after a, bigger sample size, not just one game against the Penguins to open the season. I'm trusting the process a little bit more. I do wish some of the young guys were playing from Hartford, but we might see that as time goes on. But interesting stuff from the Rangers. Never been done before, but I think they'll be just fine. Let me know how you think in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.